So my name is Miranda Daly, and I serve as the event and program coordinator for the conductor. We are an entrepreneurial support organization with the mission of empowering entrepreneurs, innovators, and makers. And just so everyone knows, we are recording this and we are live on Facebook today. Today, we are joined by Felishia Hood of the Arkansas Business Engine to bring us our first of 3 of our Intro to QuickBooks series. And so we're very excited about this because it's been highly requested. And just so y'all know, we will end the webinar with a Q&A for any questions you may have. And you will be able to rewatch this or any of the other parts of the series on our website at arconductor.org/resources. And with that, I will hand it over to Felishia.
Hey everyone, my name is Felishia Hood, and like she said, I'm the finance director and co-owner of Arkansas Business Engine. We're located in downtown Conway, and we are what we would call a business development firm. We provide legal, financial, and marketing services, and one of those that we provide is obviously the finance part, and so that's when we're going to get into the bookkeeping. So we'll get into sharing this screen. Can you see that? See that, Miranda?
Yes, we can see that.
So the first thing I wanted to get into was really the plans, because I know that some of you may not be currently using QuickBooks, and so you don't even really know which plan may be good for your business. I know that I don't know a lot of what everyone's industry is, but this can get a good overview of what all of them provide you. I would say if you were just getting started, that self-employed would be fine to use. Most of our clients use Plus. We have a few that are advanced. I would say that you would only be using advanced if you really needed track your locations, classes, categories. If you needed really in-depth reports, you would be using advanced. So Plus is what we're actually going to be working in today. And so we'll just get started. So when you get in here and you actually start your account, you'll have this account and settings and the gear icon. And this is where, so today we are Craig's Design and Landscaping Service. And in here, this is where you can edit the information to be able to put your company name, your EIN number. If you're a sole proprietor, then you'll put your SSN in here. And then you'll scroll down to company type, and this is where you can put in what exactly it is that you are. So if you're a sole proprietor or an LLC, if you're a partnership, you'll put that in here. Even nonprofits use QuickBooks, and then what your industry is. And you'll fill out your contact information and all of this so that it's attached to your invoices and your purchase orders. The one thing about QuickBooks is that depending on which program that you choose, you have users that are allowed to use the program at the same time you are. So for Plus, you are able to have 5 users that can use the program at any time. If you have Advanced, then you can have up to 25 users that can be on the program at the same time. You also have 250 chart of accounts, and we'll get into that. So if you get towards that limit, you can't really go over 250. So you have to kind of pay attention to how you set up your income accounts, sales accounts, that sort of thing. In this feature, this is where you're going to set up your preferred invoicing. So however you want to do your invoicing, if you want to tell your customers or your clients that their invoice is due on receipt, or if you want to do a net 30, net 15, you can really set it and customize it to whatever you want it to say. So you have these options in here, but you can also choose a new one. Maybe you want to do a net 3. So it's really up to you how you want to set these. You can choose custom fields. So for this one, the reason why it says crew number is because this is a landscaping company. So let's just think of like a major landscaping company here in town is Olive Branch. So if they've got 20 crews and they put out an invoice, then they can say the crew number that's going to be on that, be working on that particular invoice. You can always keep your deposit or discounts on or off. So if you're going to provide discounts to individuals, and if your company doesn't, then that's fine. You can just turn this off. It's just automatically put in there. If you have inventory, you can turn that on here. For this landscaping company, they do. Some of the other companies, service-based industries like ours, we don't have inventory, so we don't keep that on. If you're going to apply late fees, you can do that here. For some reason, this one is not letting us customize that. So you can put your late fees on here, what you're actually going to charge them for their late fees. And then you can read down to the rest. One thing that I would really make sure that you do is set reminders for yourself, especially for your invoices, so that if you send out an invoice to a client and say they have 3 days to pay it, it's going to remind them 3 days before. It's going to remind them on the day that it's due, and then it will start reminding them incrementally after it's due to let them know, like, hey, we still haven't received this invoice. It's now been 3 days, and it'll send it out for as long as you want them to be reminded that they still have an outstanding invoice. On the expenses, this is where you're able to come in and you can show what's going to be on your invoice, whether or not they're going to see items that are going to be purchased on there, that they've purchased or not. In advance, this is where you'll set up. So most of y'all are going to have your fiscal year starting in January. It's going to run from January to December. So you'll put your fiscal year of when you start, which for us, it'll be January. Your income tax year is going to be the same. And then for most companies, I would say that you should stick with accrual method, because you're going to be able to do accounts receivable and accounts payable, and those balances are going to carry over into the next year. You do, in my opinion, need to put on close the books, that you need to turn that on so that you can attach a code, a password to the books, so that when, like in 2020, when we get ready to close out our clients' books this year. So we're going to close these books, we'll turn it on, we'll close the books, and it'll have a password, and nothing can be changed in 2020 without this password. So it protects any information that you already have, so that it always matches the tax returns that you're filing for that year. Your chart of accounts, we'll start getting into all of that. And I think that's pretty much it for account settings. So I wanted to come in here and show you how to set up a customer, because these are obviously going to be some of the biggest aspects. Okay, so in here, this will show just a list, a preview of all of the customers that you have. So if you need to come in here and you see that, you know, you need to look at something on Freeman Sporting Good, and you need to receive a payment because they have an open balance right now. So they owe us money. So we want to receive payment on that. You can come in here and it's an overview of all of your customers. But let's say that we want to create a new customer. So here we'll just create Bob Hill, and he's our customer. You can come in here and put their address, email address to be able to send their invoices to them, or their sales receipts, their telephone number, and we'll just save that. So this is his overview. Whenever you start adding invoices in here, or sales receipts, or expenses related to him, they'll attach in his file so that you can see exactly how much money that you have made off of Bob, or how much Bob actually still owes you. We'll go and we'll do vendors now, just to show you how to set up vendors. So in here, we already have a list of all of our vendors. And we see that with Bronson Insurance Agency, we actually owe them $241.23. For this body shop, we still owe them $755. And so this gives you an overview of all of your open balances and the money that you owe to your vendors. So if we want to create a new vendor, we'll come in here and do the same thing that we did before. And we'll just call this Charlie. This one, Charlie Hill. Same thing, you'll put email, phone number. This one, I think for vendors, if you're going to send them a 1099, then you're going to want to track their payments for that. And you're going to put their business ID, or if you work a lot with contractors, you're going to need to put their social security number in here, and then track payments. And then you'll pick the account, the expense account that they're attached to. So for Charlie, we'll just say that maybe he is attached to, we'll say he's for advertising. Maybe he does our marketing. So we'll attach him there. The next thing that we need to do that's most important is setting up your chart of accounts. So this is really where all of your money coming in and coming out, or going out, is going to be found in your chart of accounts. For This company, it's already attached the bank account. So if you see here, this checking and savings, these are your checking account. This is your business savings account. This is how much accounts receivable means that you have customers or clients who they still owe you money. And so these are open invoices that these individuals still owe you money on. Inventory asset is if you purchased inventory, and this is a total accumulation of all of the money that you have in inventory to this date. Undeposited funds is going to mean when, let's say for instance, someone pays or you send out an invoice to someone and they're going to pay it at a later date. And so they send you a check and you haven't put that check into the bank yet. You just have it sitting on your desk somewhere, but you want to say that you've at least received that. So you'll go into the payment method and say that that's undeposited funds. And it's just a holding account until that money gets put into your actual bank account. And you can see some of the other ones in here. There's truck, MasterCard, just different ones that you're going to have. But I want to create a couple of them with you. So these are you have to think of these as, when you have a bank account, it's just one account, your checking account. But this accounting software allows you to have many, many, many accounts within that make up that money that's actually sitting in your bank account right now. So let's say that we want to create another expense account. Let's say that we want to do an auto account, and we want to call this fuel because we want to keep track of the fuel that we use for our business. We're going to say that this is a sub account, and we're going to attach this to automobile. So it's already in there one time. We'll just do it again. Okay. Let's do an advertising one. Sorry. So we're going to do expenses. We'll do advertising and promotions. And let's say that y'all want to keep track of Facebook ads. How much money you actually spent on that. So we'll come in here and we'll create a sub account for that. And we'll attach that to expenses for advertising. So this way, whenever we come down and we actually look at our expense accounts, we want to run reports, we can detail this as much as we want. If you want to be really detailed with your reports and you want to know exactly how much money you spent on maybe Google ads or Facebook ads or any type of advertising that they have, maybe videography, photography, or whatever else that you want to do for your advertising, you can customize these. So when you make your invoices or bills or expenses, you can attach them to those accounts so that your reporting is really specific to what you're needing for your records. Let's see the next thing that I want us to get into. Let's go ahead and look at the banking feature. This is going to be the next step that you're going to want to do after you set up your chart of accounts. So when you come in here, if you can see that you have your checking account, which is the money that you actually have in your account, and you have your savings account, and this MasterCard is, we'll just call it your business credit card. So you'll set this up and the screen is going to obviously be a little bit different. It'll have you put in, like, say First Security Bank is your bank. So you'll type in First Security Bank. You'll then put in your login information, and then it will attach the bank feed up to 90 days into QuickBooks. So this is our bank feed. I think probably one of the biggest things that businesses make mistakes on when it comes to the banking feed is they come in here and they think, okay, well, this has downloaded everything from the bank. And so I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to start clicking add on all of these because they were in the bank, and this is right. This is money that we spent. This is money that came in. So this must be right. But what they don't realize is that this category here says uncategorized income or uncategorized expense. And everything that comes into your account and everything that goes out of your account has to be categorized, or it needs to be categorized. There shouldn't be anything found in these categories at the end of the year. So let's just do this expense for a rental. Let's categorize it. So when you actually click on it, don't click add over here in the action tab. You're going to actually just click on any part of this to the left, and you're going to categorize it. And let's just say that we'll do the vendor is A1 Rentals. You're going to save that. you're going to come here and let's just say that this expense is, let's just call it travel. So we've created a category for this and said that this vendor A1 Rentals for this amount for $1,200 is related to travel. And so we're going to add that. And so now it has been cleared out of our bank feed. So this is just saying that what we found on your bank statement has now been categorized and it's been taken out. The same here for A1 Rentals. It automatically, QuickBooks has generated into the software that when it starts noticing that you have payees or vendors and categories, that it just automatically attaches A1 as travel. So let's just say that A1 is always travel. So we can add that one because that's correct. So this is where I was talking about, this comes up as a rule. You have to be careful in this because if you have vendors who maybe some of their products aren't related to travel or some of their products are, maybe they have different products that vendor offers, but they may be different categories. You don't want to create a rule for this because every time this is seen in the bank feed, it's going to attach this rule to it. And it's going to say, well, you've already said that this is okay for us to attach this rule and that this must be the category that goes with this vendor, and it will automatically add it to your bank register. So make sure that the vendors that you have, that's the only category that vendor provides for you. So right now we'll just not create this rule for this one. So the second biggest thing that I think I probably see individuals when they're using the banking feed is that they come in here and they match deposits in the banking feed. And I really think that you need to have a workflow that needs to be set up. And what I mean by that is that if you're going to add a deposit, then you need to be able to have an invoice that's related to that deposit. So let's just find a customer that we're going to invoice. So we've got Amy's Bird Sanctuary, and we're going to put them that their money, let's put that their money's due in 10 days. And the service that we did for them, let's just say that we did gardening for them. We did 3 hours of gardening at $100. Going to populate that. So if your industry is one that has tax, that service that you provide is taxable, then you will click tax. It will generate the tax for you. This is assuming that this company is in California, saying that they're at 8%. So it automatically generates that number for you and then what their balance is going to be. So we're going to save this. Typically you would save and send because they have the customer email up here in this section, and it will save this invoice and send this invoice to your customer. So we want to come out of here, and there are different ways that you can pay some, or that you can accept a payment, receive payment. You can come here into this plus new, and underneath customers, there's receive payment. So we'll receive payment here. We'll say that we're going to receive payment from Amy's Bird Sanctuary because now Amy has paid us. She's paying her invoice right now. And she's going to pay through, let's just say she pays through check. And we've got reference number there. So for right now, we're going to put that this money is in the checking account. We're going to go back and change that in a minute because I want to show you the undeposited funds. So let's say that we want to receive payment for $324 because our services were $300. We did 3 hours at $100. She had $24 in taxes, so we know that this is the correct invoice, and she paid the entire invoice. So we're going to do save. And let's go back and look at that deposit. So we had $865 or $868.15. Let's say that we're going to make another invoice. We'll do that one for let's just say that we did, I don't know, concrete work for them, and it cost $500 for that. And we'll say that maybe that's not taxable, so we take that off, and we'll save and send. So here is where the last one we didn't send, this one we did. So this one in here has your subject line. All this can be customized. If you don't want it to say, "Dear Bill, this is your invoice," if you want it to be customized and you want it to say it's something different, then you can set that in here for that to look different when it actually populates in their email. And you'll send and close. And so here's their invoice that we've sent to them. So within this, like say you have the ability, say that Bill has signed an ACH authorization form that you are authorized to process payments. Anytime that you set up an invoice, they allow you to do that. Within the invoice, you can receive payment. So you don't have to search for it. You already know that the outstanding transaction for him is $500. That's what he's paying. You're going to choose the payment method. For this one, we would set up, like if you're going to do QuickBooks payments, if you're going to accept payments through QuickBooks or accept payments through QuickBooks through credit or debit card, you would choose that here. It would have to be added. And we're going to have that put into the deposit for checking. So for this one, we're going to do one more, and then we'll match them. So this one will make, this one would be pool cars. We did installation of landscape design, and it was $50. So we're going to save and send this off. We like how all that looks. We're going to receive the payment on it. We're going to say that he paid by check, but we're going to put it into undeposited funds for now, because right now it hasn't hit our bank account. The check is just laying on our desk. We haven't put it in there. So we want to come back in here and let's find this deposit, and we want to match that. So up here at the top of the screen right here says transaction match. So the invoice that we put in for pool cars and then the received payment that we put in for them for the $868.15 has populated and it has matched. And so the bank feed feature says, hey, we've matched that number, we've matched the vendor or the customer that you attached to that, and so we have automatically put that into your bank register. So there's a lot more in this. Like you would have to play around with this or find someone to work with on this, because this can really get detailed. There is a lot to do with banking features that can really make or break your business, that I think can cause a lot of issues. So whether that be if all you can do is watch YouTube videos, if you can't afford to go and work with a bookkeeper or an accountant and you're having to really do this by yourself, then I mean, I would just Google and YouTube videos. QuickBooks Online has a wonderful community that you can get on to be able to ask questions where representatives from QuickBooks can actually answer your questions, or you can obviously contact customer support and have them walk you through setting up your banking and using that. So the next one that I want to get into is some other features that self-employed and the Simple Start doesn't allow you to do, is that you can actually pay bills in QuickBooks with the Plus version and the Advanced version. So let's just say that you have an office and you have to pay rent. So we want to put in here that maybe Charlie Hill is who your landlord is, and they make you pay the day that it's due. And so the category that this is going to be attached to is an expense, and it's rent and lease. And let's just say this is for January. You pay $500 for that. So we'll attach that and then save. You can schedule a payment if you want, or just do save. So now this bill is considered an accounts payable. It means that you owe this money at a later date. You're not paying it right now. If you're paying it right now, then process it as an expense here under vendors. But if this is something that maybe on January the 27th, you owe $100 to somebody, then set this up as a bill, and that'll be in your accounts payable for your chart of accounts. So now we want to pay that bill. And so we have this in here. So these are our bills that are outstanding. So these red exclamation points are saying, hey, you have this money and this wasn't paid yet, and this is still money that you owe. These are still open balances that you have to these individuals. And we saw that earlier when we were looking through the vendor portion where you added new vendors, and we had that overview and it showed open balances. So this does the same thing when you're coming in to pay bills. to say, hey, you still have this money that needs to be looked at. So we're going to say that we're going to pay Charlie because we owe him $500 for rent. And we are going to say that we paid it. You can pay this online through Quickbooks, but we don't have that feature set up with just the sample account that we have set up. So we're just going to act as if we paid him cash or check, and so that he has that, and that now is taken out of here. We no longer owe that, and that's been paid. The next ones that I want to get into is a lot of you, again, I don't know what your industries are, so I'm not super sure on what we're going to add in here. So let's just, so for like our company, we provide obviously bookkeeping, legal, marketing. So we would come in here to do new because this is our product and service tab. This is going to list for this company. They do design work and they charge $75. This is that sales price. They have concrete and pumps and rock fountains that they install. They have these different services that they provide. Here's landscaping. So they have these categorized. Underneath landscaping, they provide these different services, the gardening, hours, installation, as you can see. And you can customize these for your own business. So let's say that you need to add something new. Let's say that you maybe do inventory. Your business has inventory. Our company does not, but this landscaping does. And they have sprinklers that they purchase. And we're going to create a SKU number for them. I think that this may already be in there, but we'll see if we can add it again. We'll attach it to landscaping. We'll say that we have 10 sprinklers on hand as of today, and that we want to be notified by the system that when we get to 5 sprinklers that we need to reorder more sprinklers. You're fine for keeping it for inventory asset, the account that it auto-populates. You can leave it at that, that's fine. And you can put a description in here. Let's just call it sprinklers 3,000. And we're going to say that we sell this to our customer for $100. That's going to be sale of a product income account. So keep that account there. And we'll say that that's taxable, but this is purchasing information. So this is who we purchased this from, what they're called. So we'll call it sprinkler 3,000. And we'll just add like a item number for them. And we purchase it from them for $10. And this expense account, what is auto-populated here is correct. So this cost of goods sold, this is right. You can keep it there. And let's say that our preferred vendor, we get these from Ben Sprinklers. So we're going to save and close this. Okay, well, it says that it already existed, but this is how you'll set it up. So it'll look just like this when you set up your inventory. You'll close this out. And then when you come over here, you'll see that sprinklers are attached. So you have your category here, which is sprinklers, but you have different types of parts of sprinklers. So you have sprinkler heads and sprinkler pipes, and this tells you that you sell them for $2, that you sell them for $4, that the cost that you got them for were 75 cents or $2.50, that these are taxable items, and this is how much you have on hand of each of those. And then within here, you've said that whenever this number gets to 5, that you know that you need to create a purchase order to be able to purchase these sprinkler heads again, so that you always have them in stock. So this is how you set up inventory. For a company like ours, we have a service. We don't have products that we sell. So you'll come to product and service. Just go back. You'll go to new. You go to product and service, and you'll click this. And let's just say that you provide consultations. You won't have a SKU number. That's for your inventory. Categories will be like, maybe for like our company, we could say that maybe the category would be marketing, or it would be legal, or it would be financial, and that would be how we categorize what type of consultation that we actually provided. You do sell this product or service, so the description, and you'll click here, and you can just put financials. And then, oh, sorry. And then for the sales, let's just say we do $50 an hour. And this income account needs to say as a service. You're only going to have it as a product as if you're actually selling a product. So I've seen that sometimes where people will bring their books into us, and we'll start to work through them, and we'll see that their sales account, say they provide childcare, and they have their sales account set up as a product. They sold a product, but they don't serve a product. They have a service that they provide. So that income account needs to be set as a service because that's what you're providing. It's not a product that you're selling to them. Our services for financials, they're not taxable. So we would take this off and then we would save and close this. So this is right here. And I want to show you why that's important. So when we set up our invoices, so we've worked through paying stuff or attaching things to vendors, but let's work through what's really happening when you're creating an invoice for a customer. So you're going to create your customer line. Let's just say it's Amy's again. We'll do net 30 for the terms. But right here in this product and service, you're saying that you're attaching the money that you're making off of them to one of these accounts. So if we're saying that we're providing financial services for this girl, then this means that this will go to that financial account that we set up, which said that it was a service income account. So that when we go to run reports, we show that for services, we made X number of dollars because the invoices that we attach those products or services to, that's where that account is going into. So if maybe you provided gardening or design or whatever else, this would be a service that they provide, the design, the gardening, and so this would be attached to a service account. But if they had like this pump or these rock fountains, these are actual products that they give. So these go to an account and an income account, but it's for products that they sold, not services that they provided. I hope that how I explain that, you understand. Let me see what else. I know that we're starting to run short on time. For some of you that, let's just play off this products and services. So some of you will be having purchase orders. So this landscape company, he is running super low on his sprinklers. And so we are going to order them from Ben Sprinklers. Ben would typically have an email address in here so that we can send this to him saying, hey, we need this. You'll pick the address for where you're going to have it shipped to, and then the date that you're ordering it. And then you're going to pick what it is that you actually want from them. So let's say that we're going to get these sprinkler heads and we need to get some sprinkler pipes. And we need, if you look at this, hang on just a second. So this told you that you have 25 on hand. Say we need 30. So we're going to order 5 more. We purchase them for 75 cents. They're for $3.75 total. We're going to do the same here. We have quantity on hand is 31. Say that we need 35. So we're going to add 4 more. So our total purchase order is $13.75. So we're going to save and close this. Now your purchase order is saying that this hasn't been paid for yet. So this is just sending that purchase order off to them to let your vendor know, hey, we need this, we still need this, but you are still going to have to come in here. Let me show you. You're still going to have to come in here and pay that vendor. Well, typically they would auto-populate in here. Let me go back and do a purchase order again. When you're in purchase order, if you need to go back and edit something, which is what I'm about to do, you have this little turn back time symbol, and you can come in here and see that we did this purchase order. It'll list all of them. The view more will list all of your purchase orders that you've done to date. So you can come back in here and look at this, and let's say that we're going to set it for the 28th. So we've sent that off, and let's find his name in here. So there he is. Okay. So it's copied into the bill. So you have the vendor, Ben Sprinkler, and this is saying this is the purchase that we just made, the purchase order. So we want to add this, and this will add this here. And then we save and schedule payment. Like I said before, we can't pay bills in the system right now because this is just a sample account that we're on, but you could do save and schedule payment or save and pay now, but we're not able to do that. So we'll just save it. And then you would be able to go in here and you pay that bill. It would auto-populate and say that you have $13.75 that's owed to Ben whenever you receive that purchase order, and you actually get that in and you want to pay that now. So let's just go through maybe some other things. Some of the other stuff I don't want to get into. I think that's going to be for next week that we're going to need to talk about because it's a bit more advanced, and I think we've already talked about quite a bit. If you are needing to set up payroll, now they don't have payroll set up on this training account that we have, but you would come in here, you would do the get started. They have 3 different options of payroll. Their highest one is called Elite. They have a white glove system that they provide for you where they set everything up. You send in who your employees are, if they have any garnishments, what their taxes are, and they set all of that up for you, what it is that you're wanting to pay them, and they create the payroll for you. And then that sits in here, and that may be something that we have to do at a later training in the year because we don't have that set up in here. For those of you that pay contractors, like our company pays contractors, landscaping companies pay contractors. So let's just say that we have Charlie Hill set in here as a contractor and we want to pay him. So we want to write him a check. QuickBooks also allows you to do direct deposit. So you don't just have to pay them cash or check. If you want to pay them direct deposit, you can do that through QuickBooks. You just have to set that up with their payroll plan that you provide or that you choose. And then you'll pay a monthly fee for each contractor. So if you have, let's say you choose Payroll Elite and you have 1 day direct deposit for your contractors, you'll pay $10 per contractor that you purchase or that you send out a check to every month. So if you pay them 50 times or if you pay them 1 time, you just pay that $10 fee for each contractor that you process a check for through their direct deposit. So let's say that we're going to pay this contractor, Charlie, and we're going to pay him today. This is the check number, and we're going to pay it out of this bank account. If you're going to pay them, if you had a savings account or a credit card that you're going to pay them, however you're going to pay them, you choose the bank account here. And then you're going to say that you paid him for advertising that he did, because if you remember, we set Charlie up at the beginning that his account that he was always attached to was advertising because this guy does our marketing. And we'll just say that he did January social media management. And we'll say that we pay him $300 to do that. And we save and close. And now Charlie, when you come to the reports, we'll go through this. Charlie should be listed on your profit and loss. So there he is. So Plus doesn't give you super robust reporting. That's one thing to remember for QuickBooks Plus and particularly Advanced. You have really robust reporting that they provide for you. This one doesn't have as much as Advanced, but they have obviously a lot more than Simple Start and the self-employed. So if you want to go down and you want to look at the contractors that you paid, come down to vendors. You can go to expenses by vendor summary. We have Charlie here, and this shows that by vendor, we've paid 3 vendors this year, and we've paid them a total of $2,034. And here's Charlie, and we can go in there and actually see the check that we paid to him today. So we had a bill for him for $500 for rent and lease because Charlie's also our landlord. And so we paid him $500, and then we also paid him $300 for the social media management that he did. I'd like to show you maybe a little bit more reports, but I think that's going to be week 3 that we're going to really hit hard into what the reports are, what it's actually showing you, what you're looking at, because a lot of people can be confused about what really is a balance sheet and what is it showing me and what's a profit and loss. So the report section of this is a business overview. So this is just, like I said, we'll get more into like these major ones. Profit and loss is money that you brought in, expenses that you paid out, and what your net profit is at the end of the year. You also have with this particular program for QuickBooks Plus, you have statement of cash flows. So it actually looks at how much money that you have sitting in your bank account now, and then how much you're projected to put out based on, if you have bills that are already putting in here, it'll take those out as if by the end of the month, you're projected to have this amount of money because we are accounting for all of your bills that you're paying for this month. For accounts receivable, this is who owes you money. So you'd be able to look at this summary. Not sure if they have anything set and they do. So this is showing right now, this company right here, like this Freeman Sporting Good, they owe you $477.50, and they're current. They're not past, past due right now. This is due today. But they're also showing that Amy's Bird Sanctuary is 1 to 30 days late. So they may have a late fee that you're going to attach to them. Maybe it's 5%. After 30 days, it's 5% of your invoice amount that we're going to attach a fee to. You can have this 31 to 60 and 61 to 90. So this is able to help you, whoever's doing it. If it's you because you're the only one who runs your business, or maybe you have an office staff, they will pull this accounts receivable aging summary, and they'll be able to sit here and say, geez, like, we didn't realize that Red Rock Diner still owes us $156 because it was 3 months ago, and time has passed, so you forget. So you call Red Rock Diner and you can tell them, like, hey, you still owe us $156. So this is a really good report for you to make sure that you keep up with if you're a company that people can pay you at a later date. If it's not a cash-based business where you provide the service and then they hand you cash or a check right before you walk out the door. Let's look at a couple more reports, and then we can open it up for any questions, because I know that it's a lot. I jumped around quite a bit. I'll be better next week. We can also look at income by customers. So it's another good one for you to see that between January 1 of this year and the 14th, we have made $850. So every time they've made a payment, it will attach it. If you remember earlier in the training, we made these 3 invoices. We received payment on these 3 invoices, and then we were able to put them that they deposited into the checking account. So this is showing that Craig's really made $850. So that's a good way for you to be able to keep up with what you're making right now. Here's your profit and loss report. It's another good one. This is your income statement, your balance sheet. That's what you'll take at the end of the year and take to your accountant, what most people are taking now to have their taxes filed. So this shows you how much money, and you have to make sure that you're looking at the state. So this is just year to date. This is just the last 14 days. If you want to go back and look at how much Craig's landscaping company made last year, then you'll be able to come in here, and this is profit and loss for the entire year. This is how his business did. He made $2,250 for design income, but he gave $89.50 in discounts. He made this much for services. And this is really where that product and services tab came in, right over here. In this area right here, products and services that we went to, where we attach like sprinklers and inventory, and we set up consultations. This is where you can get really detailed to where first, let's just not talk about the landscaping company, because I don't know much about the details of landscaping, but let's talk about maybe our company. We have 3 services that we provide, and my services for financials entail bookkeeping, fractional CFO services, but our marketing and communications, we provide copywriting and social media management and websites and videography and photography. And so for this income, we're able to really customize what this looks like for us. We can put whether it was financial services and how much money we've actually made just for finances. How much money did we make for legal services that we provided, for collections for individuals with our attorney can do collections, or for contracts that you needed. Or let's say that we wanted to see exactly how much we made for marketing. So that's listed in the income. If you have laborers or you have employees, this company, it obviously just says that they have contractors that they pay. So your labor that you provide, any of your services that you provide here, so this is still income, this is still all of their profit. So they made a gross profit of $9,795. And you can click on any of these. When they turn blue, you can click on them, and that breaks down what it is that you're looking at. So this labor, when you click on it, it's going to tell you, well, what made up that labor, and when did that happen, and maybe whose projects did that occur on. For this pest control services, if you click on the 110, this will show you the customers that use your pest control services. And then here, this is where your expenses are. So this keeps up with everything. This is, like I said, is as detailed as you can get with your income that you're receiving. You can get just as detailed with your expenses, and you should. And you should also work with an accountant. If you're doing this yourself, that's fine. But I would really say that working with an accountant or a bookkeeper, somebody who can help you really determine, is this a job expense or a job supply? Is this actually a professional or legal fee? Sometimes we see that legal and professional fees have just random things attached to it. They just think, well, yeah, that seems like a professional fee because I don't do it and it seems like a professional does it, so we're going to attach it there. But that's not really what entails legal and professional fees. So I would definitely make sure that you're working with a CPA who can help you make sure that your chart of accounts is set up correctly. So this shows that he had total expenses of $6,003. He had other expenses for miscellaneous. That would have to be kind of looked into, but he only made $876.46 is what he had coming in and out of his business. And the last one that we'll go to is we'll just briefly look at balance sheet. This is money for your assets, liabilities, and for your equity. Assets is money that you actually have. So it's showing that as of January 14th, he has negative $275 in his account, and he has $800 in his savings account. He has $5,000 that is owed to him. This is money that is his. So that's why it's an asset. It's on the sheet right here. And this is just saying that his clients that still owe this money to him. He has this much in inventory, and then undeposited funds means that this may be whether he hasn't matched the bank statements in the banking feature that we showed, or he has cash that he just has sitting in like a petty cash account in his office drawer, or he has checks, sitting here at the office that have not been deposited yet. But this is money that is his. It just has not been put into his bank account. His other assets are also his truck, your equipment, fixtures, your printers. All of those things are listed as assets, and they have some of them accumulated depreciation. That's another thing that you'll need to work with your CPA with, and we'll get into that in the third week for reporting. So your liabilities, this is accounts payable. So this is showing that as of today, Craig actually owes $1,600 to his vendors or for rent, whatever else. He owes $657 on his credit card. These are his, maybe these might be like his license that he has for like this board of payables. I'm not sure what that is. Loan payables, as he has a loan, maybe he has a business loan. And so that's what this is, and he still owes on that. His equity, opening balance equity, that's the money that was in the account when he started, or if it's negative, for retained earnings. So he had money in his account, like his business. If you remember from the profit and loss, he had $876.46 at the end of the year, December 31st, 2020. That's how much money his business had left over after paying all of his expenses. So his retained earnings carried over into the new year. And so this is showing that this is what he has. And it's showing his total balance here. So I think that's enough to probably have some of you overwhelmed. So I think we'll probably stop here. And Miranda, I guess you could take over the rest of it. If there's obviously any questions, then they can put them in the chat box and we can answer those next week. Or I don't know how you want to do that, Miranda, for any questions that they may have if we don't have time.
So we don't have any questions on the Facebook, and we don't have any in the chat, but if anyone has any, drop them in the chat right now. Just so everyone knows, part 2 of Introduction to QuickBooks will be next Thursday at noon on January 21st. And you can register for that at arconductor.org/events. And this recording will be able, it will be up for free download on our website at arconductor.org/resources. Tomorrow, if you want to go back, bring any questions you may have to part 2 that you didn't think of really fast, or you want to like watch and pause as you make your own. We just have thank yous in the chat. So no questions. So with that, you can always email me questions and we can have them ready for part 2 next week. It's just however everyone wants to do that. But with that, Felishia, thank you so much. And
Yeah,
we'll
I
see
know that was a
everyone.
lot that we covered. I think I jumped around. I may actually end up watching this video and saying, well, I think maybe we need to discuss something more. So I'm glad that that was recorded.
So yeah, thanks everyone so much. And we will see y'all back next Thursday.
Thank you.
Bye.